You're watching Histoloops, where ancient history meets modern curiosity. In this episode, we're traveling back nearly 4,000 years to uncover the mysteries of one of the most iconic cities in human history, Babylon. A place of gods and kings, towers that reach the heavens, and gardens that may have defied gravity. But beyond the myths, what was Babylon really like? Who built it? Why did it fall? And could its secrets still lie hidden beneath the soil of modern-day Iraq? If you're fascinated by ancient civilizations, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because history here isn't just dates and ruins, it's alive. Now, let's begin our journey into the cradle of civilization. This is the secrets of Babylon. Babylon didn't begin as a mighty empire. In fact, around 1894 BC, it was just a small settlement, quietly founded by a group of wandering people called the Amorites. These people weren't kings or conquerors at first, they were outsiders, tribal nomads looking for a place to plant roots. But they chose their land wisely. Nestled in the southern part of Mesopotamia, the region we now call modern-day Iraq, Babylon lay between two of the most important rivers in history, the Tigris and the Euphrates. If you've heard of Mesopotamia being the cradle of civilization, Babylon was right at its beating heart. Back then, cities rose and fell around rivers, because rivers meant life. Water for drinking, irrigation for crops, easy transport, and trade routes in every direction. Babylon was perfectly placed to take advantage of all of it. While larger cities, like Ur and Uruk, were already shining stars of Sumerian culture, Babylon remained a background player. But it watched, it learned, and it waited. Over time, thanks to its strategic location, Babylon became a hub of trade, with caravans coming in from the Persian Gulf, Anatolia, even the Indus Valley. It wasn't just goods being traded, but knowledge, languages, beliefs, and technologies. Babylon grew richer, it grew smarter. Its engineers dug canals and designed advanced irrigation systems to transform dry lands into green fields. Agriculture boomed. Surplus food led to population growth. That led to organized government, temples, scribes, and walls. Slowly but steadily, Babylon evolved from a humble outpost into a powerful city-state. The Amorites, once nomads, were now kings. And they had their sights set on much more than just survival. The rise of Babylon had begun, but it was only just getting started. Babylon truly rose to greatness under one man, King Hammurabi. Ruling from 1790 to 1750 BC, Hammurabi wasn't just a conqueror, he was a builder, a diplomat, and most famously, a lawmaker. His legacy, one of the oldest and most complete legal codes in human history, the Code of Hammurabi. It was carved boldly into a giant black stone stele, over 7 feet tall, and placed in public for everyone to see. No secrets, no excuses, the law was the law. The code contained 282 laws, covering everything from theft and farming to marriage, slavery, and even the wages of workers. And many of these rules were brutally direct. Ever heard the phrase an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth? Yeah, that's straight from Babylon. But don't mistake it for pure vengeance. The Code of Hammurabi was an early attempt to bring order, structure, and justice to a growing and diverse empire. It showed that Babylon had moved beyond simple tribal rule. Now, there was a central government, with laws applied in theory to everyone, rich or poor, man or woman, citizen or slave. Through law, Hammurabi united people of different backgrounds. Through justice, he centralized power. And through writing, cuneiform, to be exact, he immortalized his vision for a civilized world. Babylon wasn't just growing, it was becoming a true empire, one brick, one law, one vision at a time. Imagine walking into a city where plants grow in the sky and gates glow like sapphire under the sun. That was Babylon, not just a city of power, but of wonders that stole the breath of the ancient world. One of the most famous tales is the story of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Described as lush terraces stacked high above the ground, these gardens were said to defy the desert heat, a green mountain rising out of the dust. Ancient texts claimed they were built by King Nebuchadnezzar II, for a queen who longed for her homeland's green hills. If true, they weren't just romantic, they were a feat of mind-blowing engineering. Think about it, no electricity, no pumps. Yet water was lifted from the Euphrates up multiple stories, flowing through a sophisticated irrigation system to nourish every leaf and vine. But here's the twist, we've never found solid evidence that the gardens were real. No ruins, no writings from Babylon itself. Were they simply a legend, or did they vanish, brick by brick, beneath time and conquest? Unlike the gardens, one masterpiece of Babylonian architecture still stands in glory today, the Ishtar Gate. Towering and majestic, the gate once marked the grand entrance to the city. Made of vibrant blue glazed bricks, it shimmered like the sky itself. And it wasn't just beautiful, it was powerful. Lined with rows of golden lions, bulls, and dragons, the gate honored gods like Ishtar, goddess of love and war, and Marduk, the supreme deity of Babylon. Every figure on those walls had meaning. Every step through the gate reminded visitors, "This is Babylon, you are entering the heart of the world." And even now, over 2,500 years later, it still stuns. These weren't just buildings. They were statements of wealth, ambition, of a city reaching for the divine. Babylon wasn't just about bricks and kings. It was a city where gods ruled the skyline, and the stars whispered secrets to those who knew how to listen. At the heart of Babylonian religion stood Marduk, the supreme deity, god of creation, justice, and storms. Every festival, every victory, every law, all were offered in his name. And to honor Marduk, the Babylonians built a massive ziggurat, Enki, the foundation of heaven and earth. This towering temple may have inspired one of the most famous stories in the Bible. The Tower of Babel, a place where humans tried to reach the heavens. But in Babylon, they weren't trying to challenge the gods, they were building a bridge to them. Religion shaped everything, from daily rituals to the very layout of the city. But Babylon's gaze didn't stop at temples, it turned upward, to the stars. The Babylonians were among the first true astronomers. They tracked the moon, mapped the planets, and recorded eclipses on clay tablets over 2,500 years ago. They didn't just study the skies, they used them to organize life, dividing time into 60 minutes, 60 seconds, and 24-hour days, a system we still use today. For them, the heavens were more than beautiful. They were a clock, a calendar, and sometimes, a warning. They believed celestial events could signal the fate of kings or the future of empires. In a way, Babylon was not only the cradle of civilization, but also the birthplace of time. No matter how mighty an empire becomes, history always writes a final chapter, and Babylon was no exception. Over the centuries, the city changed hands again and again, from the Hittites to the brutal Assyrians. Then came Nebuchadnezzar II, the most legendary king of them all. Under his rule, Babylon reached its golden age, full of towering walls, majestic temples, and maybe even the hanging gardens, but glory doesn't last forever. In 539 BCE, the Persians, led by Cyrus the Great, marched into Babylon. The city didn't fall in flames, it was taken peacefully, yet something was lost. Later, Alexander the Great dreamed of restoring Babylon to its former greatness. He saw the city not just as ruins, but as a symbol. He made it his capital. But fate had other plans. Alexander died suddenly in Babylon in 323 BCE. His empire shattered, and with it, Babylon's final hope of revival. Slowly, the people left, the streets fell silent. The once mighty city was buried by time, sand, and silence. Babylon may have crumbled, but its spirit still lives on, in ways we barely even notice. Its legacy stretches across law, language, religion, and science. The Code of Hammurabi laid the foundation for legal systems around the world. Babylonian astronomy was the first step toward modern calendars, clocks, and even space exploration. Their writing, cuneiform, one of humanity's first scripts, unlocked the power to record, remember, and rule. And their stories, echoes of Babylon, can be found in the Bible, the Quran, and myths told across centuries. Even today, the word Babylon still appears in music, in films, in symbols of pride or warning. From Bob Marley's lyrics to Hollywood blockbusters, Babylon remains a powerful icon, both majestic and mysterious. So when we talk about Babylon, we're not just talking about ruins. We're talking about a spark, one that lit the flame of civilization, and still burns, quietly, in the world we live in.